Hello and welcome. Today, we learn English with the amazing story of Toyota. This story is simple, clear, and perfect for your English practice. Please subscribe for more English stories. Part 1, From Looms to Dreams. When we think about Toyota today, we see one of the biggest car companies in the world. We see millions of cars on the road, factories in many countries, and a brand that people trust. But the story of Toyota did not start with cars. It started with a simple dream of a poor boy in Japan more than 100 years ago. This boy was Sakichi Toyota. His life was not easy, but his ideas changed the future of his family and later, the world. Sakichi Toyota was born in 1867 in a small village in Japan. His family was not rich. His father was a carpenter, and his mother spent many hours working on a wooden loom, making cloth for the family. Sakichi was a curious child. He did not have many toys, and he did not go to school for many years. But he loved to look at how things worked. He liked to use his hands and tools to make small inventions. He wanted to make life easier for people around him. One memory stayed with him. He often saw his mother working on the loom. It was very slow, and it made her tired. The loom often broke, and she had to fix it again and again. Sakichi thought, there must be a better way. He wanted to help his mother, and he wanted to help many other women who worked like her. This simple thought became the beginning of the Toyota story. When Sakichi was 23 years old, he built his first hand loom. It was stronger and faster than the old one. People were surprised by his skill. Later, he improved his design and made a power loom. This loom was special because it could stop by itself when a thread broke. This was very important. In the past, workers did not see when a thread broke, and it created mistakes in the cloth. Sakichi's loom saved time, reduced waste, and made better cloth. For this invention, he received his first patent. This was a big success for a young man who came from a poor family. Sakichi started a small workshop in Nagoya. It was not big, but it was full of energy. He wanted to build machines that were useful, simple, and safe. He always believed that machines should help people, not control them. His workers respected him because he worked hard, and he cared about quality. Many of his ideas later became part of Toyota's values: respect, improvement, and safety. But Sakichi's story was not only about machines. It was about dreams and leadership. He wanted Japan to be strong. At that time, most machines came from other countries. Japan was trying to grow, but it depended too much on foreign technology. Sakichi wanted to change that. He wanted Japanese people to build Japanese machines. He believed in the future of his country, and he believed that his family could play a part in it. As years passed, Sakichi continued to improve his looms. In 1906, he created an automatic loom that stopped by itself when there was a problem. This was one of the most advanced looms in the world. It was so good that later, a British company bought the patent. The money from this patent gave the Toyota family a chance to dream even bigger. They started to think about something new, something different from cloth. They started to think about cars. But before we talk about cars, we must remember this: the heart of Toyota began not with engines or wheels, but with a son who wanted to help his mother. It began with a simple desire to make work easier, to save time, and to create quality. This spirit of helping, of solving problems, of making life better, this spirit never left Toyota. It stayed in the company's DNA, from looms to cars, and even today. At this point in the story, Toyota was still not a car company. It was a family with big dreams. Sakichi Toyota had shown the way. Look around, find the problem, and build a solution. His son, Kichiro Toyota, was watching carefully. Soon, Kichiro would take the next big step. He would bring the family from cloth to cars, and from a small workshop to a global company. Part 2: The First Toyota Cars. When Sakichi Toyota grew older, his son Kichiro started to take a bigger role in the family business. Kichiro was a young man with an open mind. He studied engineering, and he traveled outside Japan. In other countries, he saw many cars. At that time, Japan did not have many cars. Most people still used bicycles, horses, or walked. Cars were expensive, and almost all of them were imported from abroad. Kichiro thought, if Japan can make its own cars, it will be better for our people and our future. This dream was very big. Building cars was not the same as building looms. Cars were more complex, with engines, wheels, steel bodies, and many moving parts. Japan did not have much experience. But Kichiro was determined. He wanted to make a Japanese car for Japanese people. In 1929, the Toyota family made an important decision. They sold the patent of Sakichi's automatic loom to a British company. This was not an easy choice. That loom was their pride and success. But Kichiro saw the future in cars. The money from the patent gave them the capital to start their new dream, building automobiles. The early years were full of challenges. Kichiro and his small team studied foreign cars carefully. They took them apart, looked at every piece, and tried to understand how they worked. They had many failures. Some engines did not start. Some parts broke quickly. Sometimes they did not have enough materials. People laughed at them and said, "Japan cannot make cars. It is too difficult." But Kichiro and his team did not give up. They worked day and night, learning from every mistake. Finally, in 1935, the team built their first passenger car. It was called the Toyota A1. The car was simple, not perfect, but it was real. It could run on the road, and it was made in Japan. For the Toyota family, it was more than just a machine. It was proof that their dream was possible. Around the same time, they also made their first truck, called the G1. The truck was important because Japan needed strong vehicles for work and transport. Now the family needed a new name for their car company. They thought about using the family name, Toyota. But they decided on Toyota instead. There were two reasons. First, the word Toyota in Japanese could be written with 8 strokes, and the number 8 is lucky in Japanese culture. Second, the sound of Toyota was cleaner, easier to say, and more modern. This simple change gave the company a fresh identity. In 1937, the Toyota Motor Company was officially created. A new factory was built in Aichi Prefecture. This was the start of something big. The workers there were full of energy and hope. They were proud to build Japanese cars for Japanese people. Kichiro often walked around the factory, talking to workers, listening to their ideas, and encouraging them. He believed that everyone in the company should work together like one family. The first cars and trucks were not the best in the world. They were not as strong or as fast as American or European cars. But they were special because they were made in Japan. For the first time, people saw that Japan could also create automobiles. This gave the country confidence. However, these were not easy times. The 1930s and 1940s were full of war and problems. Many factories had to build vehicles for the military. Materials like steel and rubber were hard to find. Kiichiro's dream of making cars for ordinary people had to wait. But even in those hard years, the Toyota spirit did not die. The workers continued to learn, improve, and believe in the future. At this point in the story, Toyota was still small. But the foundation was strong. From Sakichi's loom to Kiichiro's cars, the family had shown two important values: never give up, and always try to improve. These values would guide Toyota through many more challenges in the years ahead. Part 3: Growing with New Ideas. After the war, Japan was broken and weak. Many factories were destroyed, and people had little food and money. For Toyota, it was a very hard time. The company was almost bankrupt. There were not enough resources to build cars, and there was not much demand. Some people thought Toyota would not survive. But once again, the family's spirit of never giving up kept the dream alive. A new leader, Eiji Toyota, joined the company. He was Sakichi's nephew and Kiichiro's cousin. Eiji was smart, careful, and full of ideas. Together with a talented engineer, Taichi Ono, he started to create a new way of building cars. They knew Toyota could not copy the American car industry, which was big and rich. Instead, they had to find a system that was more efficient, that used less money and less waste. From this idea, the Toyota Production System, TPS, was born. The system had a simple goal: to remove waste and to make work flow smoothly. If a machine stopped, or if there was a problem, the workers could pull a cord and stop the line. Everyone could see the problem, fix it, and improve. This was different from other companies, where only managers had power. At Toyota, even the worker on the line had a voice. This made the cars better, and it also made the workers proud. The Toyota Production System became famous around the world. Later, people called it lean manufacturing. It changed not only Toyota but also many other industries. It was a system built on respect, teamwork, and the belief that small improvements every day create big success. With this new system, Toyota started to grow again. In 1955, Toyota introduced its first true passenger car, the Toyota Crown. This was a big step. The Crown was not just for work or for the military. It was a car for families, for ordinary people. It showed that Japan was ready to move forward. The Crown also became the first Japanese car to be exported to the United States. This was a brave decision. At that time, American cars were large, powerful, and popular. The Crown was smaller and slower. When it first arrived in America, many people did not take it seriously. Some even laughed. But Toyota did not stop. They listened to the customers, improved their designs, and slowly built trust. Step by step, Toyota cars became known for one important thing: reliability. They were not always the most beautiful or the fastest, but they were cars that worked. They lasted for many years, and they saved people money. This reputation grew stronger year after year. By the 1970s and 1980s, Toyota had become one of the most respected car makers in the United States. But Toyota did not want to stop there. In the 1980s, the company set a new challenge: to build a luxury car that could compete with the best brands in the world. At that time, names like Mercedes-Benz and BMW were kings of the luxury market. People thought it was impossible for a Japanese company to compete with them. But Toyota believed they could do it. They created a secret project with a simple goal: build the world's best luxury car. The team included more than 1,000 engineers and designers. They worked for years, testing hundreds of prototypes. The project cost over $1 billion, the largest investment in Toyota's history at that time. Finally, in 1989, Toyota introduced a new brand, Lexus. The first model, the Lexus LS400, was a shock to the world. It was quiet, smooth, and reliable. It offered luxury at a lower price than the European brands. Car experts were surprised, and many customers quickly trusted Lexus. In only a few years, Lexus became one of the top luxury car brands in America. The story of Lexus showed the world something important: Toyota was not just a company of small, cheap cars. Toyota could also create luxury, quality, and innovation. From looms to small cars, from small cars to luxury vehicles, the company kept showing the same spirit: never stop improving, and never stop dreaming. By the end of the 1980s, Toyota was no longer just a Japanese company. It was a global leader, with factories in many countries, millions of happy customers, and a strong reputation. But the story was not over. A new challenge was waiting: the environment, fuel, and the future of cars. Part 4: Hybrids, Crisis, and Hope. In the 1990s, the world started to think more about the environment. People worried about air pollution, oil prices, and the future of the planet. Toyota saw this as both a problem and an opportunity. Once again, the company asked itself, how can we build cars that help people, but also protect the earth? The answer was something new: the hybrid car. A hybrid car uses both a gasoline engine and an electric motor. This means it uses less fuel, produces less pollution, and saves money for drivers. It was a bold idea, and many people thought it would not work. But Toyota believed in it. In 1997, Toyota released the Prius in Japan. The name Prius means to go before in Latin. It was the first mass-produced hybrid car in the world. At first, people were not sure. The design was different, and the technology was new. But slowly, the Prius became popular, especially among people who cared about the environment. In 2000, it was launched in the United States and Europe. The success was bigger than anyone expected. By 2010, Toyota had sold more than 2 million Prius cars around the world. The car became a symbol of green technology and smart driving. Many famous people, including actors and politicians, drove a Prius to show their support for clean energy. The Prius proved once again that Toyota was a company of innovation and courage. But success was not without problems. In 2009 and 2010, Toyota faced one of the biggest crises in its history. There were reports of sudden acceleration in some Toyota cars. Drivers said their cars sped up without control. It was a frightening situation. Toyota had to recall almost 9 million vehicles worldwide, the largest recall the company had ever faced. The crisis damaged Toyota's reputation. People began to doubt the safety of its cars. The company lost billions of dollars. Stock prices fell. Lawsuits came. In the United States, the government called Toyota leaders to speak before Congress. It was a dark moment for a company that had built its name on trust and reliability. At the center of this storm was Akio Toyoda, the grandson of Kiichiro and great-grandson of Sakichi. He had recently become the president of Toyota. Many people wondered if he could handle the pressure. But Akio did something simple and powerful. He spoke with his heart. In front of Congress, he apologized deeply. He said, "I am truly sorry for the accidents, and I take full responsibility." His words were not just about business. They were about people, families, and lives. Akio's apology touched many. It showed that Toyota still carried the values of its founders: respect, honesty, and responsibility. The company worked hard to fix the problems, improve quality, and rebuild trust. It invested billions in safety systems, such as Toyota's Safety Sense, which helps prevent accidents. It also doubled down on hybrid and green technology. By 2017, Toyota had sold more than 10 million hybrids worldwide. Today, Toyota is stronger than ever. It sells cars in more than 170 countries. It has over 370,000 employees. It has built more than 50 million Corolla cars, making it the best-selling car in history. From small workshops in Japan to giant factories across the globe, Toyota has become a symbol of hard work, innovation, and care for people. But the most important part of Toyota's story is not just the numbers. It is the spirit behind the company. It is the story of Sakichi, who wanted to help his mother. It is the story of Kiichiro, who believed Japan could make its own cars. It is the story of Eiji and Taichi, who created a new system of production. It is the story of Akio, who showed courage and humility in a time of crisis. Toyota's journey teaches us that success is not about being perfect. It is about learning, improving, and never giving up. It is about respecting people, caring for quality, and dreaming of a better future. From looms to cars, from cars to hybrids, and from crisis to recovery, Toyota has always kept moving forward. The story of Toyota is, in many ways, the story of hope. It tells us that even from small beginnings, great things can grow. It reminds us that true strength comes from honesty, resilience, and vision. And it inspires us to believe that with hard work and heart, we too can build something that lasts for generations.